Good evening and welcome. Tonight we are live and exclusive on Twitch iRacing UK channel for GT3 Season 2 Round 2. Brought to you via iRacing, the world's premier motorsport simulation. Who are iRacing UK? Well, we are a community of enthusiastic and inclusive group of racers from across the UK who like to run social races, practice sessions, leagues, but most importantly, share our experiences and our passion for sim racing. I'm Tim Cox, and tonight, joining me once again is the delightful Nick Allen. Tonight, the story of GT3 continues as we head to 9 miles north of Milan in the north of Italy to the cathedral of speed that is Monza. As always, we will be taking your questions throughout the broadcast, so feel free to drop your messages into the chat. We love to hear from everyone, and we'll be watching the chat to keep up to date with you. We'd love to know who you're cheering on and who you think will be victorious tonight in the Pro and Pro-Am classes that we have racing tonight. Nick, entertain me for a second, mate. Last week we saw an epic race here at Monza for the AMs and the rookie classes. We have seen so far this season, obviously the pros and the Pro-Ams are more ruthless with their overtakes. Am I right in saying that by putting 2-2 together, we're in for an absolute spectacle tonight?
Hey Tim, yes, you're absolutely right. Back here at the Temple of Speed, or Cathedral of Speed. Will win the day for these drivers as they go head-to-head into the chicanes of Monza. The Lesmos proved a challenge to some of the drivers in the last round with the rookies and the AMs. We had a few spinners into Lesmo 1 and 2 that then resulted in accidents for other guys in the field. So let's see if our senior category drivers can hold it together for the final haul of points before we head into the second half of the season.
Now, Nick, I can see already from the chat that we've got a bit of support going on from 386 Rally, who's predicting Nick Print for the win. There was someone else, Flange 13, race predictions, James and Aiden to collide, Nick Print to win, and the first corner chaos to ensue. So there's obviously clearly a bit of support for Nick Print tonight, and he seems to be the viewer's favourite. Chris Hitchin, as always, out there supporting his brother with hashtag up the kitchen. And it looks like there's plenty of support for our drivers. Now, Monza has some passive turns, and it also has plenty of more challenging active turns. We saw in last week's race, Nick, that the active turns played a massive part in the race, especially at Lesmo 1. I know you mentioned about that earlier. Do you think the slowdowns at Prima Variante and Secunda Variante, the two chicanes, will play a big part, or do you think it'll be Lesmo 1 will be the hotbed of action that we saw play such a large part in the race results from the last round?
Honestly, Tim, you're not wrong. The off tracks here are savage, but I wouldn't say that the first chicane, Prima Variante, is the place we are going to see all of that. Yes, you can cut that initial chicane, that first corner, and that will result in a small time penalty there. But as you said, the Lesmos are the area where we saw the most off tracks in the last race, so expect to see a bit of that one again. Getting that entry speed wrong and hitting the gas too early can just push you out to the left and then off onto the gravel or over that curb. So another one to look out for is going to be the Ascari chicane. Drivers can do kind of overdo it there, especially if in the early laps when these tires are a bit colder, so you can end up spinning there, especially if you hit those curbs and get the car out of shape. I've been driving here all week actually. In the last week in the Radicals when it was here, and then also a little bit more just out and about with some of the guys today. And I can tell you that the slipstream around here is incredibly powerful, and hopefully that's what we're going to see. These guys getting up close and personal into these chicanes, really taking the most out of that slipstream effect.
Yeah, I think definitely the slipstream is going to play such a massive part tonight, Nick, as we saw last week as well. Now, recently in the community, we have the Community League. Now, the latest round last night, we saw Jonathan Hitchin take the win and Morgan Driscoll finish runner-up, and they've both booked their place in the Race of Champions in June, alongside the previous winners of the Community League and also the runners-up as well within that league as well. Now, the Community League, it's free to enter and open to entrants from all different categories. And for the upcoming, also to mention as well, we're also taking entrance for the Porsche Cup Challenge League, which is due to start on the 6th of June. If you'd like to join either of those leagues or the community in general, then head across to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/iRacing UK. Now, Nick, question for you, sir. Amazon Prime, is that something that you have?
Absolutely, Tim. I've been using Amazon Prime a lot in lockdown, watching all the shows, but also for deliveries, next day kind of goods. That's what life's like in lockdown.
Oh, it is indeed. It's definitely been challenging. Luckily, we've had the release that's been sim racing that's been so popular. Now, with Amazon Prime, you may or may not know that you also get a free Twitch subscription. Now, our broadcast and community is run by volunteers who not only put in a lot of their own time, but also their own money to keep the community free and put on these great leagues like we've seen tonight, and obviously our Skip Barber League and our F3 League that we've shown live on the channel previously as well. We would really appreciate it if you could use your free subscription to subscribe to our channel to help bring more of this great quality content to you for free and to really support the community. Now, Nick, just so we've got around about 7 minutes left of the warm up left to go. Drivers just finding their feet a little bit, and just to sort of like look at qualifying. Obviously, we had the usual names at the sharp end. Your James Armstrongs, your Aiden Shadbolts, but a brilliant lap was put in by Dominic Roberts, who's really shone in that pro-am field.
Yeah, absolutely. Dom Roberts has been, really putting the dust to the competition. He's got a lead of, with 80 points at the moment in the championship standings. His closest competitor behind Daryl Norkett. He's down 18 points on Dom Roberts. Matt Camilio follows in third, and then Stephen Masters and Cy Bell make up the top five in the. That's the pro ams there. So interested to see Dom tonight. See how well he can do. Will he be able to come up to the back of the pro category guys? As we've seen in many of the previous races, he's ended up getting mixed up with those guys, and often in many cases actually being quicker around. We saw him at Silverstone overtaking some of those guys quite comfortably. Obviously, the harder he pushes it, the more risk he puts to his own race of potentially losing out on those points that he needs to stay at the top of the table. But this is Monza, anything can happen, and I'm really excited to see what Dom brings to the table. In the pro category at the moment, the top five are Aiden Shadbolt, James Armstrong, Charlie Bebb, Jonathan Hitchin, and Alberto Gravilli. Aiden Shadbolt and James Armstrong. Obviously, you mentioned guys at the sharp end, always looking strong out on track when we see them. Charlie Bebb has picked up a few places from previous incidents, and it's kind of allowed him to, get himself up to third in the table now. So really great performance from Charlie. Make sure you drop us all of your questions and comments in the Twitch chat. We are going to be looking at that and keeping an eye on what you guys have got to say. Tim, really looking forward to the start of this now. 5 minutes to go, and we can see Hitchin there, 146.9, really putting in some hot laps here in the qualifying or in the warm-up session.
Yes, definitely, Nick. And just a quick mention, Tony B Racing, thank you for the 2 month subscription there. That's highly appreciated. Now, we're just going on board with Tim Darracott as he comes across start-finish line in his white Mercedes, Nick. Do you want to run us through the lap here?
Absolutely. So as we come down the start finish straight, you guys are going to be having a very heavy braking zone here down around the 100 mark as they go into the first right-hander here of Prima Varianti. You can cut a little bit of that first right-hander, not too much though, as you will get the slowdown penalty. And then on the power out as they now make the the run up to the second chicane. This one is one that you want to try and get nice and early on the brakes at that 100 marker, and then try and bring it in nice and tight to that first left-hander. You can cut a little bit of this first bit. What you don't want to do is cut the second bit there with the sausage curve. That will unsettle the car and put you onto the gravel. Now, as we come down into Lesmo one of the hot spots that we had 4 accidents previously. It looks like Tim's managed to keep a nice line there, and he's kept it on track, not too early on the gas. And then we're going to Lesmo 2 again, harder braking here, bit of a tighter corner there, and then just try to bring it in nicely, not get the off track there, as the now have the run up to the Ascari chicane. Now, I imagine we'll see some people going side by side down here, Tim, as they look for a little bit of space to try and make maneuvers into the Ascari as we break in now, trying to pick up a little bit of the curb on that entry there, and then going for full exit speed if we can out of there. It looks like he's letting someone through here. Yeah, he's let, I think that's James Armstrong just flown by, and Tim's aborted that lap for now. We didn't get to see him take it round the Parabolica, unfortunately. But as you can imagine, Parabolica, long bend with quite a late apex if you want it, and the guys are going to be taking different views. Here's James's view through the Parabolica. He's nice and tidy, tucked in there in third, and then pushes it on the final straight over the finish line. So great circuit, Tim. Really looking forward to it. As you say, temple of speed, and we're certainly going to see a lot of that down these straights as the guys follow each other, trying to claw some more points before we say they enter that second half of the season in round 4.
Yeah, I was chatting to a few of the guys before the race. Obviously, it being Monza, such a low downforces play so much key for this track, Nick, and they're all running absolute minimum downforce. So I was chatting to Bradley Holst and James Armstrong before the race, and they're saying it's definitely going to play such a large part, the slipstreaming, obviously, as we mentioned earlier. And I'd say, like I was saying to you earlier, Nick, really, we were saying off camera before the race, really looking forward to this one. And I think we're just going to have absolute battles up and down the field. And we're going to try and cover as much as we can do for yourselves. And I think, how much do you see the pit stops playing a provincial roll of the dice and spice things up a little?
Yeah, absolutely. We have actually seen some people kind of committing to those undercut style maneuvers by taking earlier stops, and it's paid off for some people. So yeah, there's absolutely a chance for that. You know, what we've also seen, Tim, is accidents in the pit lane, haven't we? So
Oh,
the
yes.
likes of Jerome Lamy in the F3 at Watkins Glen. So there's every chance that I don't think that they're going to be making too many errors on the entry here. It's quite it's quite an obvious easy entry. The only time you're going to get into trouble here really is if you're in a battle with somebody and they try and cut across you to enter the pit lane from the wide line or something daft like that. So I imagine we won't run into too much of that with these senior class drivers. So hopefully we can get the current championship standings up on the screen for you in a moment, so you can read those at your leisure. There you go. We've got that's the pro categories. We said earlier, Aidan Shadbolt, James Armstrong, Charlie Bebb, Jonathan Hitchin, and Alberto Gravini make up the top 5 there, followed by Nick Print, Tim Darracott, Piers Berry, Michael Hornby, Mike Ellis, Ben Cullen, Andrew Cave, Paul Busby, and Cam Brown. 2 Ferrari drivers at the back of the grid there, and then Audi at the front. Now we're going to go over to the Pro-Am standings with Dom Roberts, who we mentioned earlier, Speedy Roberts on the top of the table there with 80 points, followed by Daryl Norkett, Matt Camilio, Stephen Masters, Cy Bell, Bradley Hulst, Dan Saddington, Stuart Bickley, Gary Bacon, Aaron Gearing, Chris Wells, Chris Edisford, Damien G, Alistair Catchpole, Chris Foskett, and John McLaughlin.
Now, Nick, we've just got a few seconds left of the warm-up before the drivers start to take to the grid. Obviously, during the Ammond rookie race last week, Nick, we saw Lee Green and Cy Anthony battling for the lead. And when they came round to one of the lap one of the cars, I think it was Tom Farrell towards the end of the race, and there was hardly anything to separate Green and Anthony, literally nothing at all. And Lee Green very cleverly utilised Tom Farrell on the back markers to box Cy Anthony in. It just makes me wonder whether the Ammond Pro-Am drivers are going to utilise that same tactic potentially tonight.
it's a very bespoke situation to get into, isn't it? You know, it takes it's not the sort of moment that you can predict. Yeah, sure, you can see the guys on the relative, but you never know if you're going to catch them at that critical moment like that. I don't want to think that it was intentional, to be honest.
No, I don't think it was. I
That's
think
just
it was just
racing,
a
isn't it?
brilliant tactics made by Lee Green. I mean, you see it utilised so much within the World Endurance Championship, where you've got multi-class racing, and yeah, it'd just be interesting to see how that plays out potentially tonight. Nick, do you want to take us through our grid?
Absolutely. So you've got James Armstrong on pole. He's joined by Aidan Shadbolt on the front row. Then there's Nick Print, Jonathan Hitchin bring up the second row, and then Alberto Gravilli in fifth and Paul Busby in sixth. Tim Darracott brings it up in seventh with Charlie Bebb close behind him. And we're now going to go back to those in a moment. Oh no, we think we're actually going to have the race
They're
underway
back,
in a
Nick.
moment. Oh, there we go. So Dominic Roberts, Daryl Norkett, and we've got Cy Bell, Chris Edisford, Stephen Masters, Bradley Hulse, Matt Camilio, Stuart Bickley in 18th.
There we go. So, Nick, just picking up from some of the comments, Slim Boy Win reckons time the pit stop right and surprise everyone. I think that's definitely going to be an interesting tactic to see how that plays out, and whether people looking to take the undercuts or the overcuts, actually, which we've seen utilised so well, really. We saw obviously Watkins Glen, it played quite a large part. We had Josh Wilson utilise the overcut really well, and then obviously Gravilli as well. He managed to pick up some places as well by utilising the undercut. So be interesting again to see so many tactics that could potentially play out tonight around Monza. So you'll spot that there's a bit of a gap between the two different categories. That's just so the front cars are not tripping over the rear end of the pro guys, and they just come round Parabolica now, and just it's of course being GT3s, it's a rolling start, and just waiting for the Porsche safety car to peel off, and then James will probably floor it. Let's get ready, because in 1, 2, GT3 from Monza is go. And Aidan Shadbolt getting slightly slow off the line there, and I think that's Paul Busby coming. He's looking to come around the outside, but James Armstrong, what a start! Absolutely brilliant. We've got Nick Print there in that BMW, absolutely swamping all over the back of Aidan Shadbolt's Audi there, and we've got Paul. Jonathan Hitchin there in the Ferrari, just slightly behind, and the cars look to have all got through Prima Variante completely fine, but James Armstrong already half a second clear of Aidan Shadbolt in second in his Audi, and then we've got another gap of about 8 tenths back to Nick Print, and we've got Jonathan Hitchin. He's absolutely all over the gearbox of that BMW, and just tucking back in, not quite close enough, and James Armstrong really taking a lot of curb in that Lamborghini there, absolutely clattering it over the curbs into Secunda Variante as they come round Lesmo 1 for the first time. We've got a spinner in the background there. I think, was that Dominic Roberts? No, I think that's
Roberts is dropping down the order, the one that we've hyped up so much. We've cursed him, and he's dropped right to the back. That's really unfortunate for Roberts, Tim.
I think I'm getting word, Nick, from our producer, that potentially he's jumped the start. So it'd be good to see if we can come back to that at some stage and see exactly what happened there. But amazing. Other than that, don't seem to have had much drama on the first lap. Everyone seems to have got around pretty much clear.
So I've just heard that we've got that replay of the start lined up. So we'll have that now, hopefully, for the viewers. So if we have that one in.
So we've got it popping up. So it's our brand new replay cams you see in the bottom right-hand corner. Yeah, he's just spun out there. Yeah, and we saw so much of that happen in the AM and the rookie crosses, and he's our first victim tonight. And I've put it as well, Cy Bell seems to have dropped down the order as well. It looks like he's come off the circuit, so we could see if we can revisit that at some stage. But the gap between these front four, Nick, of Armstrong in the Lamborghini, Shadbolt in the Audi, Print in that BMW, and Jonathan Hitchin in the Ferrari, there's hardly anything covering these guys. There's around about 1.3 seconds covering our top four here.
the timing tower is just all red, isn't it? Yeah, all under a second, these gaps at the moment. So they're going to have to be really careful here that they don't, catch up to the guys at the wrong point in the lap, and not be able to get round before, one of the...
Nick, sorry to cut across you, mate. I think Paul Busby might have had a slowdown because I saw him pull to the side there. Coming out of Secondo Variante, he's getting absolutely swamped there, Nick, by Charlie Bev and his BMW. Now he's got Tim Darracott right behind him. He's looking to make a move, and Paul Busby in a lot of trouble here, Nick.
That's a shame for Paul. Paul was looking really strong. We've actually got a replay of the Cybele crash. We're going to cue that up on the screen for you now. We're going to keep having a look at this battle with James. Oh, and that looked like James was getting out of shape there. James Armstrong off the track. James Armstrong has been touched, I think, possibly by Aidan Shadbolt there. A little bit of nudge, and that's going to be a slowdown.
Oh, we got the Nick Prince there, Nick. They're all off. It's all happening in one go. I was just looking at the replay of the Cybele incident, and then all of a sudden it's happening all in front of us, and James Armstrong has got to have a slowdown there, Nick. The way he's just crawling along the back straight as they come up to Parabolica, but there's he's just going round the outside of Alberto Gravilli there in that BMW, but Gravilli's going to have the run of him, and this is going to be a race now. They're all weaving right behind any of them. We've got James Armstrong, Lamborghini, followed by Alberto Gravilli, Charlie Bev, and then Tim Darracott joining in the fun in his Mercedes at the background. And now they come into Prima Variante, but we've got Gravilli's under attack now, whereas he looked like he was going to overtake James Armstrong. He's now actually losing a place, and we just saw the Chris Edifer spin there in our little replay box. And, wow, what seemed to be quite a quiet and tame first lap, Nick, and it's all of a sudden GT3 actions hotting up yet again.
That one wasn't the chaos moment today. It was lap 2, and we've seen some great drives here from people that have managed to claw at some places, from people that have made errors. James Armstrong uses a lot of the curb there. He really bounces that Lambo around. Now, I wonder if in going off he's taken any floor damage or anything like that. It looks to me like Charlie Bev behind him at the minute, now going to be under threat from Gravilli there. So let's see how this plays out for Charlie as well behind. Now, hopefully, Dom Roberts might be able to make it back up the order a little bit, having the pace that we know he's got as we look at this between Hitchin and Shadbolt here, really close behind him.
So, yeah, as you say about Dom Roberts, he just got past Damien G for 17th place, and Damien just losing out twice in quite succession there. Stuart Bickley's managed to get past him as well. So Damien just dropping a couple of places there, unfortunately, in his Ferrari. But as we just look at Jonathan Hitchin here as they round Parabolica now and come round to the start of the third lap. So your order with 39 minutes to go is Jonathan Hitchin in first in the Ferrari, followed by Aidan Shadbolt, James Armstrong, Charlie Bev, Alberto Gravilli, Tim Darracott, Piers Berry, and then Paul Busby. Daryl Norkit, and then Ben Cullen in the Audi to round out your top 10. And we've got all this movement. Gravilli and Charlie Bev looks to be swapping places again in the background there. Just managed to catch the corner of my eye. And then we go, Darracott's trying to join in the fun here, and he's almost trying to make it go 3 wide there coming out of Prima Variante, Nick.
It looked to me like Charlie was really on the defensive there against Gravilli, and he's come off with the worst exit. And then look at Darracott. He's got a bit of speed there behind Gravilli, and he wants to move over, but he can't do anything. He's caged in. And there's Charlie Bev. He's got to turn around.
We got contact, Nick. They were so close coming down the straight as they entered Seconda Variante. And he's come off really off of the worst there, and such a shame that it's so close to one another. And all while this has happened, Alberto Gravilli, he's managed to get some breathing space. He's now got just over a second to Tim Darracott in 5th place. But as we talk about Darracott, he's got Piers Berry in that orange and blue Lamborghini, and he's on the attack as they approach Ascari.
This is a fight that we've seen before, Berry and Darracott, so let's see what Piers can do here. Darracott maybe a little bit unsettled after that incident that he just had with Charlie Bev. It can put you out a little bit. And look at that coming up behind him. Is that Paul Busby coming up behind as well? It is. Paul Busby absolutely flying there out of Ascari. And that's going to put Piers Berry under a lot of pressure. And look, he's going to move to the side of him there, up the inside, going for a move at the Parabolica, and that is going to be a job done from Busby there. The man's got it through. Buzz Races on Twitch. You'll be able to find him.
And look at that.
Piers Berry on the inside of Parabolica. Look at that. They're going to be side by side down into turn 1, Tim.
is not giving up that space, that place whatsoever. I mean, Piersbury seemed to have a bit of a twitch midway through Ascari, and I think Chabot. No, he's not been passing. Is Barry just looking at the inside potentially into Prima Viriante there, but looks like Paul Bedby's got the move done. But we've got another fight coming up here. We've got Gary Bacon on the inside looking to get the move done in that red Biaretti Ferrari there, and just in front of him he's got Stephen Masters in the Lamborghini. And Dom Roberts, after spinning out an end of the back of grid, Nick, somehow he's clawed his way all the way back up to 12th
place. That's second place in class after dropping all the way to the back, and he was commanding that fight that he was involved in there. So that is, I mean, we cursed him at the start, and it left him off the track. But you know, he's fighting back and showing what he's really made of. We're going to have him in the pros in the next season for sure. Now look, we've got Matt Camilio here, really putting some pressure on Bradley Hulse ahead of him by the looks of it. We've got a replay in the bottom corner view of the Charlie Bebb incident there, and that was really unfortunate for Charlie, who had some really strong races in the previous rounds.
So, wow. What about 10 minutes already gone, and not short of action in those 10 minutes? I don't know where they've quite gone. And we've got Aiden Chabot here, Nick, and he's in his Audi, closing right up to the back of Jonathan Hitchin as they round Parabolica to start another lap. It's the head down the straight now. It's
incredibly close.
Yeah, there's nothing between them. Aiden's tucked it right up to the gearbox of that Ferrari. He's almost bump drafting down the straight there. Can we see him swing out to make a move potentially?
No, he's going to behave himself here. But James is catching up on this fight now. So after having that penalty earlier on where he had to slow down, he's now getting up to this fight. And now, if you ask me, Aiden's going to want to get round Hitchin as quickly as possible, because this will become a three-way battle for the lead in absolutely no time at all, especially if Aiden is getting slowed down by Hitchin here, can't get round him, but he's got all of that draft. I wonder if there's any damage at all. I'm just trying to look at the front of that Audi. So I wasn't sure if there was contact between him and Armstrong in that initial incident that we saw on lap 2. So looks like it's okay at the moment.
Yeah, looks like it's all right. I'm having a good close-up look on the screen. Now, Nick, you mentioned about, you coined him Hungry Hitchin. He's definitely going to be hungry for that win tonight. And we've got Stuart Bickley. He's got Gary Bacon in front of him. 2 Ferrari drivers. So Stuart's in that high-vis yellow Ferrari. And then they've got Dan Saddington, your good friend there, Nick, behind him in that Mercedes. And looking to just keep on to the back of them. We've got a replay of Matt Camilio just having an incident. He's lost it into Secunda Viriante there, just on the brakes, and maybe carrying a bit too much speed in there, Nick.
Maybe, yeah. It looks like I didn't think he caught any of the curb to unsettle the car. So we're just going to go back over to Hitchin, because look at how close Shadbolt is here as they go into the Parabolica. He's going to be absolutely perfectly lined up for the move that we didn't see him try last time. And it looks to me like he's got enough, of a gap there to pounce on Hitchin. So let's see. And James Armstrong getting the draft now from behind these guys, just waiting for his moment. Maybe he thinks, here we go, Shadbolt going down the inside here, looking for a move. He's not actually going to be brave enough to do it. He was backed out. He just had a little look down the inside of Hitchin. And James Armstrong now almost within a second of these guys, which is going to be a real pain for Shadbolt as he tries to push through this fight. And look at that, that's Piers Berry down the inside of Tim Darracott, but not quite commit to the move. And Charlie Bebb behind. Look at that, Charlie going to grab some places back now. Fantastic move there, picking up a bit of curb, and that's probably going to compromise his exit, I think, there, Tim.
Nick, we've got Daryl Norkett. He's mixing it up with the pros there. Daryl, the Pro-Am driver in that red and white BMW, and he's got Ben Cullen right behind him in that black Audi as they head down to, I think that's Secunda Viriante. They're heading down towards now, hard onto the brakes. And Daryl's
to get round.
Yeah, Daryl's not fighting for positioning class, and they've got Nick Printon, that bent rear wing BMW, obviously after his earlier incident with Tim Darracott, and Daryl Norkett just seems to be letting him pass there, Nick.
He's let him through, but you know what that's going to do? That's going to give Dom Roberts a chance to catch up, who's only 2.5 seconds behind now. So that would have compromised Daryl Norkett a little bit there, giving up those places to the Pro-Am drivers. So he was within his right to carry on. There's no blue flags involved in that situation, but Roberts now almost 2 seconds. He is now closing in on Norkit, so that's going to be a real pain for Daryl in a couple of laps' time.
It is, Nick. And just look at James Armstrong here, Nick. We said about him catching up, and he's been setting faster laps than Hitchin and Shadbolt ahead of him by around about a couple of attempts per second per lap. And he's slowly clawing away at these guys. And it's an absolutely impressive performance because that Lamborghini is not the fastest. And they've got a replay in the bottom right corner of Shadbolt just getting really close as he came round Parabolica to the back end of Hitchin, and just Shadbolt just doesn't seem to have an answer at the moment for Jonathan Hitchin. He just seems to be holding it at bay. He gets to around about a tenth away and then just can't seem to get the move done, Nick.
I wonder if he's fuel saving at all, giving himself a better chance of having to put less motion lotion in the tank later, and when it comes down to those pit stops. So maybe an undercut maneuver, maybe he dives in before Jonathan, but why would you when you've got the slipstream here and he's basically carrying him along? The only real risk here is James behind now closing in. That gap looked like it was hanging around 1.1, but now just about to get under 1 second as they come up to the Ascari. And look at that, Hitchin moving to the inside, and we've got Daryl Norkit here. We've just gone past Ben Cullen, and Ben is the driver that he'd let past a minute ago, I think.
Nick, something's happened to Paul Busby because he was running in 5th place and he's tumbled down the order massively, all the way down to 16th. So I think he must have gone off track somewhere, so he's lost 11 places. That's cost him dearly after running really up there in the thick of the action. But Nick, you called it. We've got Dom Roberts on the attack of Ben Cullen now, and that Ben in that black Audi, and then Daryl Norkit. You said that Dom Roberts would be closing in on him, and obviously Daryl Norkit in that red and white BMW at the front of this train of 3 here, and Ben Cullen, he's in a bit of a sandwich there.
Aiden's going for the move on the inside of Jonathan Hitchin, Tim.
He's got it done, Nick, I think, but no.
We've had contact.
We've got contact between them, and this is now James Armstrong. He's cleared both of them, and he's through. Armstrong slipped. He slipped through, and they just seem to run into the back of each other there. I'm not quite sure from the camera we have. Great to get a replay on board of James of We've got Paul Busby in the replay there. Oh, an absolute slapper there. He's done very well to save that, Nick, and not cause any more damage to his car as he came out of, I think there was Secunda Viriante there, the second chicane on the lap. But yeah, it'd be great if we get a replay, obviously, on board with Aiden Shadbolt of that incident between himself and Jonathan Hitchin at the first corner there, Nick, and all the meanwhile, James Armstrong now nearly a second ahead at front, Nick.
Now, Hitchin's going to be hoping to try and claw some time with that slipstream, but we should just also mention who's back in the lead of the AM. It's none other than Dom Roberts, and now Daryl Norkit falling behind Cullen. Now, we're going to have a replay here, hopefully, of how he got the move done. And Daryl moved over.
Well, he must have got a slowdown somewhere potentially there, Nick, because so effectively the two Pro-Am drivers have swapped place there, and poor Ben Cullen's now still stuck in the middle of those guys, and he's just watching Piers Berry. Well, he was getting away from him, but he seems to have dropped back a little bit, and Dom Roberts is catching really close at the back of him.
Shadbolt's in the pits, Tim. Just want to mention he's dived in, so whether or not he's decided to take that early stop.
But Nick, we've got Gary Bacon's on the attack here, Nick, and he's looking to run it round the outside of Parabolica there, Nick. He's fighting with Stephen Masters in the black Lamborghini there. But however, joining for company, they've got Stuart Bickley in that yellow Ferrari, and he's swung out wide. He's going to be on the outside line. But Masters really tucking in behind Bacon there as they run aggressively up to Prima Variante. Hard onto the brakes now. Gary Baker's gone defensive, but look, he's not quite getting it. Oh, lots of curve. I hope he hasn't got to slow down there, Nick, because this is a great battle that's currently happening here, and neither one wants to give anyone an inch and give up that place. They're fighting over 11th place here, Nick.
Bickley now in that position where he's getting boxed into these fights and then having to play it a bit safer, probably having to brake a little bit earlier. Look at that, the distance between these guys as they go to the second chicane,
slow
picking up
there.
lots of curb, and then Bickley really pushing it behind these guys. And look, we've got somebody else come into the fight as well now. That's Paul Busby that's joined the fight. Look at these guys as they go into the first Lesmo there, and they are side by side. Busby on board now.
He's just cleared Stuart Bickley there, who's giving up the place there to let Paul pass. Of course, Paul, a pro driver. These guys are Pro-Am, battling out over 11th place here, and now heading down to Rodescari. And we're on board with looking at Charlie Bebb now. He's currently running in 5th place. He's got Nick Print for company, the 2 BMW drivers. Print's gone on to the attack as they come down into Parabolica. And I think we're just going to look at the Aidan Shadbolt, Jonathan Hitchin crash. Yeah, just not giving each other an inch there, and just nudged into one another, and it cost them dearly. And Shadbolt on the lights there, infuriate Hitchin. And I think might potentially see a protest form going over that one. I don't think that's the last we've heard of that one. But Dom Roberts now, he's joined Print and Bebb, and Roberts on the attack here of Charlie Bebb. He's getting involved. It's not his race to be fine. He's oh no! Contact!
Oh, no.
Roberts has taken out Bebb!
That is a shame to see. Bebb now, that's a second incident we've seen for him coming out of that first chicane. And that was a inter-class fight there that didn't need to happen in a dangerous position on the track. So I think Charlie will probably want to protest a move like that that's now compromised his race. That's a real shame. There's a lot of dust kicked up there. It's going to be a bit distracting for the guys as they come out of that first chicane. Now, as we watched Charlie and Print a minute ago, I noticed that Print still, even though he had a bit of damage on his Beamer, it came out on top there in the drag race, didn't it, down the main straight?
I did it quite surprising, really, because that rear wing is heavily out of shape from his earlier incident, and Dom Roberts doesn't seem to be able to catch up with Print too much, so it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. We've got a replay there of Charlie Bate, which just moved across on Dom Roberts there, and yeah, I think that's one of those things. Maybe just didn't quite see him in his mirrors, and maybe initially a bit more of a racing incident. But Piers Berry, Nick, he's now on the back of Daryl Norkit. Berry in that orange and blue Lamborghini and the red white BMW of Daryl Norkit as they head down to Parabolica. James Armstrong last time around set the fastest lap of the race. First person into the 1 minute 46, 146.94. An absolutely stunning lap from him there, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. Piers Berry, we're watching here, just being very gentlemanly at the minute with his fight with Daryl Norkit. He does want that place. Daryl has been kind of giving up the places to some of the faster drivers at points we've seen. I know we did have a slowdown from him as well, but looks like Piers not looking for the move here. We're going to have to go over to Bickley now because there's a big fight hotting up here with Bacon behind him and Busby ahead. And then we've also got Masters involved here and Charlie Bebb, who may have picked up a bit of damage in those last instances.
Oh, Busby's
contact! Oh, no! Prima Virianti
Paul
takes another life. That's Busby and Masters that have had contact there. That is a shame to see. That Busby's going to be really angry with himself after 2 accidents in this race. So, wow, that I didn't think we'd see much of that in the first chicane, but there you go, Tim. A lot of action so far as we ride now with Dan Saddington. He's chasing Gary Bacon.
Gary Bacon's lost. Wow, save
there
Bacon there. Definitely save the Bacon there. We've got a replay of the Busby and Masters incident there, and Busby just trying to get on the power maybe a little bit too early and cut just rounds and didn't manage to get round. I mean, it's the trouble when you've got a faster driver trying to cut through the field there, and it looks like Paul Busby's dropped to the pits there, maybe carrying too much damage to continue, and that's such a shame for Paul Busby. Last season we saw him in absolute epic battles all season long, and of course that final battle of the last round with James Armstrong that went down to the wire. And talking of James Armstrong, just to put in some context, the fastest lap that he put in, which has just gone faster again, at 146.83. Now, to put that into some context, the top split on iRacing, the GTEs, which obviously they're a higher category than these GT3s, are only lapping about 3 seconds a lap. So that's the top drivers of a more powerful car is running faster, only running marginally faster than James Armstrong's currently putting that Lamborghini GT3 round as we watch him just mount it over the curbs there into Seconda Variante.
Gravilli behind him coming round as well. So Alberto Gravilli in second place. It's a great result for him so far, having made his way up the order. We must remember that Shad Bolt's had an earlier pit stop, so there's every chance we're going to see him back in the action later on. It looks like Paul Busby is now out of the race, unfortunately. And then just going over to another Ferrari driver, Dom Roberts, as the fastest
First
driver in the
sector.
first sector at the moment. So he is absolutely flying. Even with the contact that he's had, you might have thought that there might be a bit of aero damage on that Ferrari, but look at him here into the second chicane. He's absolutely flying up to the Lesmo. He's got so much pace behind those other cars ahead of him.
Norkett on the attack there in the background there on Ben Cullen. And so he's gone defensive there as we've managed to pick up the action. We've got Piers Berry, his blue and orange Lamborghini, joining in the fight. And so these guys are racing, racing for position here. And Piers Berry is not, he's a pro driver. And Norkett, the pro-am in amongst this. And Ben Cullen, obviously a pro driver as well. So Norkett potentially, I would say holding them up, but he's been so quick around Monza, Nick, that you can't really say he is holding them up.
No, absolutely not. He's been holding his own here, really, has Norkett. So very well done to him. There's a bit of damage on that car at the moment. Nick Print just dropped into the pits, so he should be going for his mandatory pit stop. I think we're going to go over to another replay of an accident now, so that should be coming in for you guys. Here we go. It looks like Saddington. I think he's hit the grass in the Lesmo one, and now that's put him off track and into the barrier. That's a shame for Dan. That's going to be a shame after he'd just taken that place from Gary a few laps ago.
So now, Nick, we've got Edisford on the inside. Jonathan Hitchin has managed to clear these guys. He was behind Hitchin and Damien G, who's in the orange and black Ferrari in the background there. And Hitchin just looking to claw back some places, obviously, after that earlier incident with Aidan Shadbolt at the first corner. And Damien's lost quite a bit of time over Edisford and Hitchin ahead of him there. Just dropped back a bit there. But Edisford went a bit shallow, hard onto the brakes there, and that's allowed Hitchin to get away a bit.
Yeah, he picked up a bit of curb there, didn't he? Chris, on the inside. Look, he's how wide he is into Lesmo 1. And now I think that's going to really make this, a potential pass for Damien G. Because look at this, he just seems to have it a bit tidier than Edisford through both the Lesmos there. So we're just going back to looking at Daryl Norkett, Ben Cullen and Piers Berry. We're actually looking at Ben Cullen and Piers Berry because that's the fight we want to see here. Piers now chasing that slightly dented Audi. I think there's a bit of damage on the front if you're seeing the same thing, Tim. So perhaps a bit of contact now slowing down that Audi. And look at that, Piers going towards the inside. I don't think he's quite there. He's gone for the pit lane. He's gone for his mandatory stop. So go to pick up some fuel and get back underway. Maybe he'll go for the undercut on these guys.
Got a hive of action here in the pit lane next.
Stuart Bickley behind him in the Ferrari. So Beb, unfortunate for him so far with those incidents. But look at this. We've got a few more guys here getting racy. I think maybe another one dropping into the pits there. Was that
Holst, I think, maybe in the Lambo. I think it was Holst, and Masters is also in pits as well. So the pit window is officially well and truly open, Nick.
Yeah, there's Gravilli just coming out, I believe, as well. So he's now just tucked in there in front of Shadbolt. So Gravilli's actually taken the position from Shadbolt, where Shadbolt had been leading him earlier in this race in P2. So that's an interesting move there from Gravilli, because that means that the early stop for Aidan hasn't worked out. We'll see if he can take that place back from Alberto as we ride now at the rear wing of Alberto's car into the second chicane. Aidan not looking as close as he could be there. Lots of curb being taken by these guys, bouncing these GT3s around. You can take a bit more curb in these than you can the Radical, I can tell you that, Tim.
You can't, Nick. You can't. So, Nick, just mention, because we haven't mentioned it yet, our good friends over at trackscams22.com, providing us with these great camera angles to view all the action tonight as Gravelli on the attack of Damien G, and Shabbat will be looking to follow him through, but I think he's let them through here, Nick, which was he only let the one car through. He's just at Alberto Gravelli, and it's a bit of a disaster for Shabbat because now he's a car length and Gravelli's getting away from him. And Nick, we've got the top 5 into the pits. We've got Armstrong, Darracott, Roberts, Norkit, and Ben Cullen. And I was just spotted from looking at the chats, a lot of love going on for Ben Cullen right now. Newbleton saying that Ben is so cool and handsome, and Throw Your Keys In is dubbing him Ben Sexy Cullen. And as we've got James Armstrong just heading out of the pits, and looks like we've got a few drivers more dropping in there. Edisford and Damien G.
I wonder
Audi
if
and
this is going to
drivers.
get messy with people coming out the exit, but it looks like we're all clean at the minute. There's Darracott coming out and a few others also coming out as we continue to watch Gravelli being chased down by Aiden Shadbolt into the first chicane. So let's have a look down the order. So we've got James Armstrong and then Jonathan Hitchin, Alberto Gravelli, Aiden Shadbolt, and Darracott and Print are the first 6 runners in the pro category. Then you've got Cybell, Daryl, Dominic Roberts, and Daryl Norkit, the first 3 in the pro am. Now Cybell has not had his pit stop yet, I don't believe. So
Nick, this is really hard up now because Shabot he's going round the outside of Lesmo 1 on Alberto Gravelli, and he's running really wide there, and I think he's got the move done here, Nick. And Shabot may able to make up that time where he had Damien G in between the 2 of them, and he's managed to close up that gap that Gravelli had pulled, and he's got the move done in around about half a lap, just under a lap there, Nick.
It looked to me like Gravelli had picked up a little bit more of the curb on the inside of Lesmo 2 than perhaps he'd wanted to. Looked a bit slower out there than Aiden did, but very good driving there from Aiden. Great to see him work his way around Gravelli, and now let's see if he can use the last 15 minutes of this race to try and close that gap up to Hitchin ahead.
So we've got 15 minutes only to go now. What an action-packed race. We'd love to see you within the Twitch chat. All your comments. Who do you think is going to win the race? Who have you enjoyed watching so far? Who are you supporting? And we've got quite a bit of this Slim Boy win saying awesome drive from Aiden. Yeah, Aiden pulling out a brilliant lap there to get the move done. And so just seeing Cybell just taking his pit stop, and these 2 guys here really jostling position, Nick.
Very close in behind Shadbot there into the first chicane, but playing it cool at the minute, not going for a big dive and causing an accident like we've seen a couple of times already in there, with guys getting bumper to bumper and having a bit of a tussle. Now Gravelli only 3/10 behind. The next closest battle behind that is Piers Berry and Ben Cullen a little bit further down the order. Now everybody is pitted now, so the order should start to level out a little bit. We won't see too much chopping and changing around unless we have anybody off track. So Cybell on the pit exit at the minute. He was running further up the order. So that leaves Dom Roberts and Daryl Norkit as the 2 front runners again in the pro AMs. Now here's Piers Berry following behind Ben Cullen, Tim. Now these guys have been, like you say earlier, jostling for position, and look at that, having a little look down into the entry to Lesmo 1. He's not brave enough to do it there, but he's incredibly close behind there as Ben Cullen picking up a bit of grass there. You can really see through the Audi there, through the bodywork. Look at that. And then Ben getting a little bit, again, more curb on the inside there than perhaps he would have wanted. I think a little bit wider for Piers on the left there. So he's not going to be looking for a move here into Ascari, but I imagine if he picks up a decent exit, he'll be well and truly in a position to try and take the position in the parabolic, or maybe even leave. So look, we've got the camera in the corner there of Ben Cullen's rear wing, watching Piers Berry behind him as they have the long run down here. Now Piers doesn't look like he fancies the move this time, Tim, perhaps on the next straight.
I think he's just teeing. Oh no!
Oh, look at that, Ben Cullen!
Cullen's lost it into Parabolica, and he's gifted the place to Piers Berry. It's probably just teeing him up to make a move down into turn 1, but well saved Ben Cullen. He's not lost too much time, but Charlie Bebb will be the man to watch behind him because he'll be all the momentum we'll look to see if that pattern changes at all. But we've got Chris Edsford with Stephen Masters in front of him. Masters in the Lamborghini, Edsford in the Audi, and the Bradley Hulse in the Lamborghini. So Chris Hedderford, the meets in a Lamborghini sandwich here as they head down to Prima Variante. But I think Chris may be a little bit too far here, Nick. A little bit too far back to get the move done.
Chris will be looking to survive the last 12 minutes. I don't think a move here at this point is, a big dive bomb's not going to help him out here. Just looking in the comments, Chris Hitchens says to the in reply to the Ben Cullen spin, hashtag just Audi things. Let us know what you think of that in the comments, guys. I don't know.
Well,
But we've actually got a replay of that. We can queue up now in the corner for you guys. So here it is on screen. Pillsbury chasing behind. Look, he's just got it turned round, not managed to hold it together on that line of the Parabolica. That's a real shame. They were battling out quite well. I think Piers probably would have had a go on the straight coming after the Parabolica, but unfortunate for Ben.
It is, Nick. It's such an active turn, Parabolica, and there's still plenty of support for him, and that Ben Newberton saying that Ben's too handsome to take Parabolica normally, and there was another one as well that Froyo Keating saying Ben Cullen's no longer sexy after sliding it there. So, just looking, Masters running it very wide there, Nick, and but Edsford doesn't seem to be able to have caught him quite too much yet. Maybe teeing up another move like we just saw on the last lap before we lost Ben Cullen.
Yeah, he's managed to close it up a bit there under braking, so he's nice and close to Stephen Masters for the run down at the pit straight now. Will he want to go for a move on the inside? But I think Stephen Masters now looking like he's going to hold on to this right-hand side of the track, and Edison moves to the left. Is he going to be able to get it done? Let's see what they look like as they go too wide into Prima Variante. Stephen Masters later on the brakes gets it ahead, and Chris gives him plenty of room there as they stay nice and close on the exit. Both drivers getting through safe and sound. No T-cut required there.
Definitely not that. We've already seen a few too many incidents at Prima Variante, so good job the drivers giving each other room with only 10 minutes to go, and I think we've got a little bit of calm now before the last couple of laps where I think the drivers come a bit more brave with their moves, and we've got Ben Cullen, who we were just mentioning. He's now got Charlie Bebb in his BMW, who joining in for company, and not too far back in that yellow Ferrari. And you see in the bottom right corner, which is on the back end of Ben Cullen of that Audi live, and being chased down by Charlie Bebb, who's pushing that BMW to the absolute max there, coming out of Iscari, Nick.
Yeah, Charlie's going to be looking to try and grab a few places back in the last portion of the race after having obviously a couple of incidents, in particular with Don Roberts into the first chicane. So he'll really want to try and claw back some more points if he can here. And I do think looking at these guys on track, he is the quicker of these two cars as he's getting right up behind Ben Cullen now on the pit straight. So I imagine he'll be fit for a move here. He's going to go to the inside here. This is definitely the preferred line, I think, personally. It looked like it worked out. And look at that bit of paint traded there. And then Ben Cullen has just been brave there. And Charlie picking up a lot of that curve. That's going to be a slowdown possibly for Charlie.
That's got to be surely, Nick.
Much. So very defensive from Cullen, and he's done well to hold on to that position. Look at this. We've got Cybele here now, Tim.
Yeah, he's got Damien G in the orange and black Ferrari. Cybele in that yellow and black Ferrari on the right-hand side. G just tucking in behind him, obviously. Cybele just getting the move done on Damien G there. A nice textbook slipstream move down the start-finish straight there, Nick. And just looking up and down the timing sheets, Nick, we've got a couple of close battles. We've got the Cullen and Bebb battle, which these two just don't want to leave each other alone. They're just, it seems like they're glued together at the moment, Nick.
We've seen Ben Cullen under attack a lot here, haven't we? So we already saw Pillsbury get past. And look at Charlie Bebb here on the run down to the Ascari chicane. He's incredibly close behind. He's going to go for a move into the left here. Is he going to get an early breaker marker? And they're side by side going into Ascari. He just dips in behind Ben Cullen. Oh, takes a lot of curb there as well as they went through that. So
But then
is a shame there for Charlie. Just couldn't quite hold it together behind Ben.
Ben's managed to scamper away and pull out around about 7/10 of a second, and now all of a sudden Stuart Bickley, he's joining in the fight and behind them, and Beb is just potentially he's got to start looking on in his mirrors. Ben Cullen, probably after he gets out of that car tonight, he'll probably be ripping the wing mirrors off that Audi because he's so sick at looking in them, having to look at Charlie Bebb behind him. But now all of a sudden, it's Charlie Bebb. He's got to look in his mirrors as Stuart Bickley in that yellow Ferrari comes onto the attack and starts latching onto the back of him. But
I wonder if Charlie's thinking, oh no, not another Pro-Am into turn one.
Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, talking of Pro-Ams though, Nick, I think just worth mentioning, Dom Roberts and Darryl Norkett currently 7th and 8th overall in their Ferrari and BMW respectively. We've seen all season long Norkett and Roberts make some really good performances and really mix it up amongst the pro drivers in the overall standings.
And given that Roberts was off track early on in this race, I think at the first Lesmo we saw him go off the track. To see him now back in 7th overall, it really just is testament to the skill of Roberts behind the wheel of that Ferrari. And as you said, Norkett, he's done very well, albeit Norkett's had some slowdowns. He's maintained position, he's kept it under control, and he's comfortably ahead of the rest of the guys in this class at the moment. Stuart Bickley, the nearest one behind them, he's down in 12th overall as we watch him now chasing after Charlie Bebb for 11th place. Now, you won't want to get too close here and cause an incident. These guys are they're alternating classes, so we don't want to see too much action between them. But if it looks like Stuart's going to get by and can do it safely, then why wouldn't you hate him?
Oh, of course not. Racing is racing, Nick, and it's another bit of kudos for finishing one higher up the standings overall. Of course, there's no real points gain from Bickley to finish above Bebb, but it's definitely a feather in his cap to beat yet another one of the pro class drivers, and that Ferrari's really tucked up behind that BMW. He's gone to the outside. Bebb's hard onto the brakes. He's got to defend that inside line, and he's taken the first corner perfectly. A little bit of curb on the inside, but I think where Masters didn't get as good a line through there, and Bebb lived to fight another day. But just looking up and down the timing sheets, Nick, this is another one of our closest battles on track. Stephen Masters in that black Lamborghini being followed by the white and black Audi of Chris Eddersford. These guys are 6th and 5th in class, and of course, essentially the same car underneath in the road-going version, but very different when it comes to being on the track. And Eddersford looking incredibly racy, Nick.
Yeah, just having a look down the inside of the second chicane there, not looking to actually make the move though, just had a little look, let him know that he was there and ready to take that position from Stephen Masters. We've got the camera angle down in the bottom corner for you there of the onboard from Chris Eddersford's Audi, they say chasing behind that Lambo of Stephen Masters. They've got around the Lesmos okay, and now they're going to head down into Ascari. Let's see how much of a draft that Chris can pick up from Stephen ahead of him. I don't think there's a move to be made here, but if he can get it nice and tidy, there might be a move to be made on the exit.
Nick, well, we've hardly mentioned it all night, but yet again, just thank you to trackcams22.com for allowing us to use these camera angles as we watch Dom Roberts take a lot of curb and going on the attack against Nick Print. Nick Print, no slouch whatsoever, but Dom Roberts really taking the fight to him in that Ferrari. Dom's the second driver into the 1:46s, joining James Armstrong. So he's on the attack, Nick, and he's got the move done on Nick Print there.
Yeah, he has. He's got it done nice and comfortable as well. Then Nick Print. Oh no! Nick Print now span it on the exit. It looks. Oh, he's just tapped that wall. That is a shame for Nick Print. I don't know if there's any. Oh, there's Darryl Norkett going through there. Yeah. But again, different classes there. So Nick Print. That's a shame for him. He just, there was no defense. So it looked like Dom had already got the move done, and then just on the exit with Nick being offline a little bit. Maybe that's just ended up sending the car around, and with the damage that he's got as well. Yeah, that's just. Not ended his race, but here we go, Nick. Here on Stephen Masters.
It's going to be hard onto the brakes now as they enter down his Ferrari. He's got it done, but no, No, Masters on the fight back there, but can't seem to get the correction out of the corner. Sorry, that was into Prima Variati, not Ascari. And Edisford just scampering off the road now as he heads round Lesmo 1. And we've got a replay coming up in the bottom right now of the Nick Print incident. And just look to catch a bit of the inside curb there, which just unsettled that BMW.
That is a shame for Nick Print. Now, Chris Edisford, fantastic move that he got there on Stephen Masters. It looked like he was nice and comfortable there, had plenty of speed into the second chicane and just slipped it at the inside. No problems at all. It looked to me like Masters might have been fit for a run on the exit, but we didn't quite see it happen this time. So we're going to go over to Charlie Bebb now. Still chasing Ben Cullen. And still being chased by Stuart Bickley. So we've got 2 minutes to go. These guys probably only got another lap or two now to finalise their position on the grid. Let's see if Bebb is going to be able to hold off Bickley for a little bit. We'll get a camera angle from the front of Stuart Bickley's car as he chases Charlie through the rest of this lap. And then lots of curb being picked up on the inside there. There you go. There's that camera angle there. I don't think it's quite the right one. That looks like the Ascari chicane.
Yeah, that's Ascari Stuart Bickley.
We'll keep watching the guys on the main camera at the moment as they're going to go in towards the second chicane now. Stuart Bickley going for a move up the inside here. Oh no, just sticking his nose out and having a look, but he's going to stay behind Charlie Bebb. He needs to be careful here with only less than a minute to go, only a minute and a half. You don't want to end your race with that little amount of time left on the clock.
It looks like he's slowed up a bit, but Bebb really, really slidey out of Lesmo 1 there. And remember, Bickley, this is only for overall. It makes no difference to the result in class and the points that he'll get, but it's just showing the real race driver in him, and he's not wanting to let Charlie Bebb go. And in the meanwhile, Ben Cullen is getting away, and he looks like he's actually gaining on Piers Berry in the Lamborghini ahead of him. But Nick, we've got Shad Bolts into the pits. Eddie Shad Bolts coming in the pits. I'm not sure what's caused that, Nick. It's got to be fuel.
He's obviously, he's not timed it right, or because he had to stop that bit earlier. Because I think he might have had possibly some damage earlier on, or because he took an earlier stop, and that's just not worked out for him. So that's dropping him down the order now into 6th place overall, with Dom Roberts now moving up to 5th and Darryl Norkett moving up to 6th. So that has really put. He's on the pit exit now, so he's only gone in for a quick fuel stop, and he's back out now. He's behind Nick Print on the exit of the pits, so that's a shame for Aiden. He was looking for a strong result there, and that's left Jonathan Hitchin and Alberto Gravilli in the top 3.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to mix up the championship a bit. Shad Bolt's been one of our stronger drivers. You just watch Stuart Bickley down in the bottom right there as he comes round Ascari, and we're now talking with Ascari, we've now got Armstrong heading up to Ascari there. The way he mounts these curbs, Nick, and takes so much from so aggressively. If that was me driving that Lamborghini, I would have headed into the wall.
I don't think you have any wheels left on it if you were driving it like that on a normal day. So where we are now on board with James Armstrong with the livery of the Queen on his helmet there. As we watch him now.
Sorry to cut across you, Nick. Ben Cullen's crashed somewhere off camera, and it's allowed Bickley and Charlie Bebb to come through. But just as we watch, James Armstrong wins round 3 at Monza. Congratulations, James. Jonathan Hitchin, what a brilliant recovery drive off that earlier incident, takes 2nd place as Gravilli comes across the line to take 3rd. Tim Darracott is going to bring that Mercedes across in 4th place, followed by Dominic Roberts. What a drive from him in the Pro Am category in 5th place overall, and obviously to win that category as well. I will try and bring you the Ben Cullen incident once we've got a hold of that replay. So drivers come across. I think we're just going to cut to it any second now. Let's see what happened. So he's coming round Lesmo 1 there, and he's just.
And then he nearly took out Bickley and Bebb at the same time there, didn't he? Wow, that was incredibly close. Bickley just had to take some evasive action.
Gotta feel gutted for Ben Cullen. He's brilliant and driven an absolutely brilliant defensive race, Nick. He had people constantly in his mirror, and he's been battling all race wrong, and then so unfortunate to lose on the last lap there.
I think that Tim Darracot's fourth position may be his best finish in this
I
season so
think
far,
you're
Tim.
right
So
there, Nick. He's been
that's the first Mercedes we've seen in a in a top five, I think, in the Pro Am series. We have seen Rob Armstrong in his Merc in the rookie section who have been quick. And we're just going over to a camera shot here of Bradley Hulse in the bottom right there, the Union Jack flag there, Tim, on Bradley's car.
Yes. Now, Nick, there's a bit of a story behind this, and also Aidan Shadbolt here as well, who's just come along to drive alongside for the last lap. Now, with Bradley, these guys are just driving to commemorate their the end of what's going to be the end of their team. So these guys drive for a team called Twin Jet Virtual. And you see that on their livery cars. They're running special liveries for the race at Monza today. Nice flashed on the lights from Bradley in his Lamborghini there. Aidan across on the left there in his Audi. Now, the reason why their team's being disbanded is because Bradley's applying for a career as an engineer within the RAF, so he no longer has time to run the team anymore as he concentrates his efforts on building up his fitness, ready for all the tests ahead of him for the induction. The team has been racing since they joined iRacing UK, and they won their first ever league race together at Spa. Aidan and Bradley, I spoke to them before the race, Nick, and they just wanted to say thank you to everyone at iRacing UK, the members in the team. And you'll notice on the livery, you'll see, there we go, thank you. Nicely timed there on their rear wings, and I think they've also got it dotted on the side skirts as well. So yeah, they just wanted to show their appreciation for everyone in the community and towards Twin Jet Virtual for allowing them to run their name on their liveries. And they picked this livery. It was inspired by the Porsche livery, which was used when Porsche left IMSA. They ran the American flag on the top of their cars. And Bradley, for everyone at iRacing UK, mate, good luck with your new career and going to serve your country. Proud of you, and we wish you absolutely every success, mate, in the future.
Yep. Thank you very much for all of the entertainment you've given us in these races, and both of these guys wish you the best of luck for the future.
So Bradley's going to finish off the league, but this is just sort of a commemoration to sort of quite fitting, obviously, with him being a Lamborghini driver. Monza being a home race for the Lamborghini. Couldn't think of a more fitting way to celebrate that. So, Nick, wow, what a race. Do you want to run us through the race results for the pros, first of all?
Absolutely, Tim. So with James Armstrong coming in first, an impressive drive from James after having dropped a few places and then making his way back to the front after incidents ahead of him, followed by Jonathan Hitchin, Alberto Gravilli, Tim Darracott, Nick Print, Aidan Shadbolt, Piers Berry, Charlie Bebb, Ben Cullen, and Paul Busby. Ben Cullen, we obviously saw a lot of action from. Paul Busby, unfortunately, didn't finish the race this evening. Charlie Bebb got caught up in some incidents earlier on, which left him further down the grid than he would have liked to have been. He was then having to fight for position with some Pro-Am drivers later on. Tim Darracott, we think his best in the season so far in fourth position. Well done to Tim. And of course, we can't forget the fights with Piers Berry that we saw.
Nick, what the great thing to see as well with that top four completely different manufacturers as well. Obviously, Lamborghini, Ferrari, BMW, and Mercedes. So just showing that it was not necessarily one particular car that was much stronger around Monza today.
The Lamborghini has looked strong today. I mean, in the hands of James, any car looks strong, right? But there's been plenty of Ferrari drivers in the mix. You can see there that the BMWs are well capable of being in contention for those top spots. And just speaking of the Lamborghini driver himself, we've actually got James in the commentary box with us now. So, Tim, I'll hand over to you to speak to James.
James, congratulations, race winner at Monza. How does it feel?
It feels pretty good.
So, obviously, you were in third place while Aidan Shadbolt and Jonathan Hitchin were battling out for first place. Do you feel like it was a bit of a gift when obviously they came together coming into the first corner, or do you think you would have the ultimate raw pace across the whole race to try and maybe get ahead of them?
Well, I think it certainly helped that they had an accident and that let me through. But I was catching them two, 3/10 every lap, so I probably would have caught up to the back of them, and then I would have been just trying to get past them. But yeah, them having a come together definitely helped.
It looked like you were incredibly close behind. I mean, just I think we're going to go over to perhaps a camera angle on the stream of it now, but it looked like you were incredibly close. How from the cockpit view, how close did it feel to Hitchin and Shabbox? One of those cars was incredibly close to the front of you as you came out the exit of the first chicane.
A 4X from Hitchin's car, so it must have been pretty close.
4X. Oh right, okay. So actually, did that affect you later on in the race? Did you feel like you had damage that was causing you problems?
Oh no,
Didn't look like it on the stream.
The car felt fine. It was fast. I don't think I did any damage, luckily.
No, you talk about fast, James. You were well, naturally, of course, you got the fastest lap of the race. There was only yourself and Dominic Roberts who managed to get into the 1 minute 46s. And we were saying obviously during the race that the GTE guys in top split only lap around about 3 seconds quicker than what you managed to get that Lamborghini around today. And obviously being a GT3, it was it's not nowhere near as powerful. So it's absolutely stunning drive for you. We're just watching on that stream at the moment where Aidan Shabbolt early on nudged you from behind. What was going through your mind at that sort of stage where you took a evasive action across the gravel and the grass coming through Ascari?
Well, it was clear that 1.6 second slowdown that turned into a 2 second slowdown.
Wow.
And then after that, it was I'm either going to bin it or win it, really. Just pushed.
We also just caught. I think there was also Nick Print going off in the background as well. So I think there was a few other guys that also had similar incidents out of Ascari. So you weren't the only one with a slowdown. We saw a few others out of Lesmo as well. So was that the only place that you picked up a particular off track there? Was it?
No, I think it was the second to last lap. Yeah, I got a slowdown at the second chicane, which took a while to clear as well. It cost me like 2 seconds, and it was only a 1 second slowdown.
Yeah, that's always the tricky thing, especially for you like yourself, the faster drivers. It seems to take an absolute age to clear, doesn't it? And were you worried when you had that second slowdown at all?
Not really, because I had a 5 second gap behind, so I knew as long as I didn't try to push the limit of the time that the game gives me to get the slowdown, I would have been fine.
Well, thanks very much for joining us in the commentary box, James. Fantastic race and well done as usual. We look forward to seeing you in round 4.
Yeah, thanks. See you.
Right.
So Nick,
We're going to get the Pro-Am results on screen for you now. So Dom Roberts, another commanding victory from Dom after an off-track early in the race at Lesmo 1. Then Daryl Norkick behind in P2, followed by Stuart Bickley. Great drive from him. We've seen him really fighting through the order this evening. Gary Bacon and Stephen Masters in 4th and 5th. Stephen Masters, great drive we've seen from him. Actually, we did see him get passed by Chris Edisford earlier in the race. So Cy Bell then in 6th, and Chris Edisford ended up in 7th there, followed by Damien G, Bradley Hulse, who you just saw on the replay a moment ago, and then Dan Saddington, Matt Camilio, and Aaron Gearing in 12th.
So Nick, we're joined in the I think we're both about to say exactly the same thing, man. We're joined in the commentary box by Daryl Norkitt, BMW driver, for his second in Pro-Am today, and brilliant drive finishing 6th overall. And congratulations, Daryl. Did you expect to finish so high up the standings overall?
Thanks a lot. No, I think I benefited from some of the quicker drivers in the pro class having incidents and whatnot. I had quite a messy race myself, to be honest. A couple of slowdowns and some mistakes, but yeah, I like the track, and I thought it suited the BMW quite well because his car's good over the curbs.
It looked like you picked up a bit of damage on the car. Was that affecting you throughout the race?
No, not really. I couldn't feel anything. I had a bit of door rubbing with someone at one point, but no, car felt fine.
So we're just watching on the stream, just there's a few clips of you. I think if that was past Cy Bell, where you got the move done on his Ferrari coming down into Ascari. And obviously you seemed to make good ground during the race, and you were first in class overall. And did you ever feel like I know Dom's been very, very quick all season long, but did you think there was potentially a chance of the victory today, or do you think ultimately that he'd probably catch you and up maybe overall?
Yeah, I think the latter. I was kicking myself because I had a really scrappy few laps, sort of around maybe kind of lap 5, 6, 7, something like that, where I kept getting a slowdown, and yeah, lost quite a bit of time and had a little mini spin. So I kind of gave the lead over Dom that I had away, which is a bit frustrating. So we'll never know. But if I'm honest, Dom's super quick. I did expect him to breeze past later on in the race at some point anyway.
Yeah, Dom was the only other person that got into the 146s other than James at the top of the pro charts. So yeah, he was absolutely on fire.
So,
Yeah.
Daryl, you were hustling it with the pro guys for parts of the race. What was your sort of going through your mind, sort of tactics wise, to get past them to get higher up the overall standings, or were you trying to maybe leave them to it with their battles?
Well, I actually thought it was an opportunity to do a bit of fuel saving and try and go a lap longer on the pits. But what I found as I caught some of them is it just depended. If I felt I was getting held up, then I went for the move. And if I felt that the pro in front was quicker, then I was trying to stay behind for a little bit. But a lot of the time, cars in front, had incidents themselves, got slowdowns, come off, and this kind of stuff. So I didn't really get held up too much.
Yeah,
Daryl, thank you very, very much for that insight into the race, and thanks for joining us in the commentary box this evening.
thank you,
And
Daryl.
congratulations on the P2 this evening.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
We've got championship standings on screen now, Tim. So for the pros, we've currently got Aidan Shadbolt leading the order, followed by James Armstrong, who even with that victory hasn't quite taken top spot away from Aidan yet. Only 5 points separate these guys, so incredibly close fight to be had there. 10 points behind them is Jonathan Hitchin in third. After a little bit of contact today, he's managed to have a strong finish, and now he's followed by Alberto Gravilli, Nick Print, and Charlie Bebb. Tim Darracott in seventh there. Great finish from Tim tonight in the fourth position. And then Piers Berry, eighth. Ben Cullen, ninth. Michael Hornby in 10th. Paul Busby, 11th, followed by Mike Ellis, Andrew Cave, and Cam Brown at the bottom of the order there in 14th. We'll go over to the Pro-Am results here, league standings. So as you see there, 120 points for Dom Roberts. That's 3 perfect finishes in this league as we're at halfway point now. Daryl Norkett behind him in second, followed by Stephen Masters, Matt Camilio, Stuart Bickley, Cy Bell, Gary Bacon, Bradley Hulse, Dan Saddington in ninth, followed by Chris Edisford in 10th, and then Damien G, Aaron Gearing, Chris Wells, Alistair Catchpole, Chris Foskett, and John McLaughlin in 16th place.
Brilliant. So just to touch on one point, Andrew Cave, he's decided to retire on racing for the rest of the season due to the birth of a child. So congratulations to you, Andrew. And for the viewers at home who are thinking, Tim and Nick, the racing looks great. I'd love to get involved. Well, we're running a Drive and Drive GT3 event, which takes some place before the broadcast each and every Sunday night. And it caters for all abilities, and it's for everyone welcome to join. If you're thinking, also maybe I'd love to take part in season 3, then head across to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/iRacingUK, where you can request an invite to our Discord community. And you can also stay up to date with all the latest events and be ready for the registration as soon as it opens for season 3 in the coming weeks. Alternatively, instead of sliding off track, you can slide into our DMs on Instagram and Twitter, where we are IRUK_team on both platforms. That's IRUK_team. We'd like to say a big thank you to all our viewers at home and our new subscribers on Twitch. And a very big thank you to all of our competitors, and who've made the action, what's been absolutely brilliant race tonight, possible. So dates for diary coming up. We on Thursday, that's Thursday the 15th. We at 9 p.m. we have the 4th round of the Skip Barber League at Watkins Glen, which if previous rounds of the Skip Barbers it's anything to go by. We're in for an absolutely great night of racing, and obviously we've already visited Watkins Glen in the F3 and the GT3 leagues and seen some absolutely stunning races from there. And a week today, we'll be back for the GT3 league. That's for the AM and rookie classes. We'll be heading to Spa in Belgium. That'll be again from 9 p.m. and that will be a night race. And of course, both of those races are available live and exclusive here on the iRacing UK Twitch channel. Now, if you want to catch up on any previous races of any of our broadcasts, then you can do so either here on our Twitch channel, or you can also head across to iRacing UK on YouTube. Finally, one big thank you to trackscams22.com for providing us with these absolutely brilliant camera angles. To producer Sean and cameraman Trevor for their work in the background. And of course, don't forget to hit the follow button, but also subscribe to help bring this great action and help fund our community. This has been iRacing UK Discord Community GT3 League, brought to you via iRacing, the world's premier motorsport simulation. Good night.
Good night.